How's it going, guys? In today's video we'll look at pre-ferments, specifically pre-ferment called Pâte Fermentée. It's also commonly known as old dough or pinchback. And the way it normally works is that a baker would make his dough on the day before, keep a piece back for the next day's bake. So it ends up being a pre-ferment that contains all the ingredients that the dough has, meaning flour, water, yeast and salt. And there are various benefits to using pre-ferment. It will greatly increase the flavor of the bread, give it a thicker crust, and it will make the interior have a bit more bite to it. It'll still be soft, but a bit more substantial. And because of the acidity in the pre-ferment, your bread will stay fresh for longer. So let's get to it and see what we need. We'll use some strong white bread flour, cornstarch, some cold water, yeast, salt, sugar, and some soft butter. Now onto the equipment. We'll need a bowl for mixing our dough in, scales, a dough scraper, a temperature probe, and a loaf tin for those nice square sandwich slices. And I'm gonna line mine with some non-stick baking paper, just to be safe. And this is all the equipment that we need. So let's start by making the pre-ferment. All it is a portion of the total water, a portion of the total salt, a tiny pinch of yeast, and I mean tiny, and a portion of the total flour, which will all mix together. Then we'll leave it to ferment for 10 to 12 hours. This will be basically like a little bread dough. Because as I mentioned earlier, this kind of pre-ferment will be pinched back from the previous day's bake. And that can go on forever. Simply make the next dough and keep back a piece of that for the following day. Of course, it's only practical if you're baking every day or every couple of days. And as casual home bakers, we would most likely be using the method that I'm showing here. Now I've mixed the dough together, covered it up, leave it to ferment for 10 to 12 hours. And that has puffed up beautifully. Now look at those bubbles. Right, so whenever we're using a pre-ferment, we run into a problem, because a pre-ferment is normally at room temperature. So to prevent the dough from warming up too much whilst kneading, I'm using cold water, and I also refrigerated this pre-ferment 1 hour before use. If I had kept the pre-ferment at room temperature, the final dough would be way too warm. Another way of controlling the final dough temperature would be by refrigerating the remaining flour. Of course, you need to look at what makes up the majority of the dough. Is it the pre-ferment or is it the flour? But the lesson really here is use cooler ingredients when kneading dough by hand, because it will warm up. So let's continue on by making this dough. In a large bowl, add the remaining water, the salt, the yeast, the sugar and the cornstarch. Give it all good old mix to dissolve any large salt and sugar crystals and hydrate the yeast. And then add the pre-ferment and follow that with the flour. Now we are not adding the butter at this point, that will come a little bit later. This is a relatively large amount of butter, so if we add it too early, it will be hard to develop the gluten. We'll end up mixing the dough for too long and it will warm up again. So we'll knead it first for a while and then we'll add the butter. Speaking of kneading, I'm going to use my regular kneading method here because this dough is not too sticky. What I like to do is press down and forwards with the heel of my right hand, then using the fingers of my left hand I fold the piece of dough under the heel of my right hand, then turn it and repeat. Keep kneading for around 4 minutes. As you can see, the dough is now nice and stretchy, it's full of gluten, but it's not there yet. But now we can tear in the butter. Now there's no pretty way of doing this, but trust me, it will come together at the end. Just grab your butter, slap it on the dough, spread it out a bit, and then fold it in. And now squeeze the butter and the dough together. Do this for around a minute. We want to try and force the butter into the dough. After about a minute of squeezing, continue kneading, just as you were before. And while it will be sticky and messy in the beginning, it will start coming together soon enough. And 4 minutes later, it's done. The dough is nice and smooth. It may be slightly sticky, but don't worry about that. Now pop it in a bowl and take its temperature. 24 degrees Celsius is just about right for this, because we want a nice slow proof. So we can cover this up now and leave it to ferment for 1 hour. And after the first hour of fermentation, you need to give it a fold. Folding acts as punching down, so we'll be degassing the dough. It will equalize the temperature throughout the dough. And we will create extra layers in the dough, making it stronger. So dust your dough ball with flour lightly, release it from the bowl using your scraper, tip it out on the table so the smooth side is pointing down. Now spread it out nice and big, then fold one side over the middle, fold the other side over that, and then roll it up starting from the top down to the bottom. There are various ways of folding your dough, but we'll keep it nice and square in this case, because the final loaf will be kind of squarish, right? Now pop it back into the bowl, we can cover it up again and leave it to proof for 1 more hour, and now it should really start puffing up. So it's been 2 hours, the dough has grown massively, now we can do the final shaping. Grab some flour, grab your scraper, once again dust your dough with flour, then release it from the bowl using your scraper, pop it out on the table once again with a smooth side pointing down. This is how it normally goes. When you're working with your dough, you want the smooth side to be down. When you're proofing your dough, the smooth side should be pointing up. Of course there are exceptions. But what I'm trying to say is, you should always keep in mind which side you should be working with. So to do the final shaping, simply spread your dough out, make sure it's nice and flat. Then grab one of the top corners and fold the piece of dough over, then cross the other side over that, making it into a kind of triangle shape. This will make the loaf nice and uniform. And now all we need to do is roll it up. As you roll it, tuck it. And once you get halfway down, you can fold the edges in so they don't poke out the sides. And then keep rolling, and once you get down to the bottom, fold the edges in again. And you should end up with a nice oblong loaf. Make sure that you keep the seam on the bottom. Now if you have a brand new bread tin and you trust it, then you don't have to use this paper. But I've used my tin for quite some time now, and sometimes the bread starts to stick to it, so better be safe than sorry. But regardless of what you use, place your dough in the loaf tin with the seam side pointing down. And lastly, you can just press it down so it fits the shape of the tin. Using a loaf tin is quite forgiving, as you can let the dough rise for far longer than as if you're making a freestanding loaf. And that is exactly what we're gonna do. We want this to almost double in size. So cover it up and we'll leave it to ferment for around 2 hours. Of course your kitchen may be warmer or cooler, it may take you less or more time. But during the final hour of fermentation, preheat your oven 160 degrees Celsius with a fan on. And look at that loaf, it's puffed up massively. It's so soft and fluffy, full of air, it's ready for the oven. If you see any large bubbles on the dough, pop them, otherwise they'll just burn. So let's stick this bad boy in the oven. It'll take around 40 minutes. Now my oven is quite crappy, it doesn't heat from the bottom. So fully baking this loaf in the tin is not really an option, as the bottom and the sides of it will still be a little bit soft. So here's what I'm gonna do. After 40 minutes, take the loaf out of the tin, remove the paper, I'm gonna place it back in the oven. This will ensure that the crust is nice and solid. And it won't take long. I'll pop it in for 10 more minutes and it'll be ready. And you may or may not have to do this. It will depend on your oven and on the baking tin that you're using. But there you have it. That's how you make a nice sandwich loaf using a pre-ferment. We have improved the flavor, we've improved the crust, the inside became more hearty and chewy, but still stayed soft, and we have improved the keeping quality. So what do you think of this bread? Do you like using pre-ferments? Let me know down in comments. And if you have any questions or suggestions, also let me know. And check out some more of my recipes using pre-ferments. And of course, don't forget to click that subscribe button and the bell if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.